If I could go back to my 20s and there was only $1,000 in my bank account, here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't invest in stock, ETF, I wouldn't invest in crypto. I certainly wouldn't try to get a loan and go back to school for a degree or certificate. Here's what I would do that would be way more powerful, because $1,000, if you think about it, it's not really enough to do anything. And even if you're getting a bit of dividends from the $1,000 of any sort of investment, the return is simply just not enough. And you're also not trying to be financial disciplined at this moment. You got an income problem that you have to solve immediately.
Whoever's influencing your decision making, your thinking, you don't have a spending problem. Nobody in the room has a spending problem. You have a what? You have an income problem.
And in order for you to solve that income problem, you need a higher skill set to be able to draw more income to you. And this is why if I could give advice for my younger self, I would not get him to focus on anything but increase that earning potential. And in today's video, I'm going to show you step by step how I will start building that skill set all over again. Step number one, you got to pick one industry that interests you and also has a very high upside potential. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if the industry is going down, for example, newspaper back then 10-15 years ago, if you choose a newspaper as your industry, every single year is declining. And with today's technology, ChatGPT, you can figure that out pretty easily. So do a bit of research and make sure that the industry that you're choosing will give you year over year that kind of return on appreciation. And as long as the industry is growing for the next 5 to 10 years, AI industry, for example, your income potential will literally grow with the industry as well. Now, for me, I made a very simple decision. I knew that based on the stats, 88% of millionaires build their wealth through two things. One is business ownership, the other one is real estate investment. So my approach is very simple. Build a business in the real estate industry, because this will allow me to start building a foundation, connection, and start to really understand this industry. And over time, if I stick to this industry long enough, I basically will have 88% of chance to become a millionaire in the future. And honestly, this is still the case. Real estate has such a high ticket price. Every single person who's purchasing their home is basically the biggest investment in their entire life. And if you're just brokering a deal or finding the product, services around this industry, there's always going to be needs and service for you to be able to capitalize on. So it's very easy for anybody to type into this ecosystem and start making some money. Now that you anchor step number one, step number two is to figure out how to sell. Sales is basically the most essential and most aggressive way that you can start earning income in this industry. If you learn how to sell, you can do anything. It doesn't really matter what the product is, what the services that you're offering, or the company that you're working for. As long as you can recognize who's the right audience and you can get them to purchase something from you, this is where you get to make some commission, make some sales immediately. And this is not a time for you to do too much due diligence, because the best defense is always the offense. If you can start generating some income for yourself, and the goal here is not to go too fast. The goal here is to make sure that you keep extending your breathing room. And let me give you some examples. Wholesaling is one of the really easy way for you to get into the industry. If you can connect with a distressed property, motivated sellers with another buyers, and this buyer can be realtors, can be property manager, could be other landlords. Basically, the moment that you can connect these two, you basically get paid, get compensated with an assignment fee. And this is basically a very quick way for you to get started without any capital, selling your time a little bit for cleaning service, lawn care, landscaping, property management, or try to connect your tenants with the landlords, tenant placement services. These are all the examples that you can easily make hundreds or even thousands of dollars just by providing those services for the right people. And if your skill set is not really on the in-person type of stuff and you want to stay in the online space, then find ways to generate leads for other real estate professionals. More like B2B type of connections. Getting the inbound leads. Market a specific real estate professionals out and try to generate leads so that they started getting business and you started getting a bit of a kickback or referral fees. And these are all very easy way for you to start generating a bit of income by providing your service to those people. And these are everything that I was doing when I first started. I was just trying to learn how to sell, how to talk to other people, and really just keep merging myself into this environment, this ecosystem, so that I can keep accelerating while building my connection. Out of all these ideas, honestly, I started with managing other people's property. Back then, I already owned a couple of different student rentals, and it was very easy for me to know exactly what the landlords are looking for, like what they need, especially for out-of-state investors. So I basically just reached out to a bunch of landlords who have different area code, which I know that they're 45 minutes away from the town. And this is how I start cold calling them, try to start the conversations and try to learn how to sell my property management service and leasing service to them. And it worked out really well for me because I first learned how to sell and then I learned how to market myself. And the last thing is that I learned the entire operation for real estate without owning more properties. And this is really something that I advise people who don't have a lot of capital. Don't worry about investing in yourself, invest in those skill sets, and you will draw so much financial capital resource for you so that you can start building your rental portfolio later or down the road. Step number 3, find a mentor, find a community. And this is one thing that I was very reluctant to do when I first started because Again, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't really understand the meaning of investing in myself. But very soon I realized that having a mentor and experienced investors who can guide me through all the mistakes becomes such a shortcut for me to grab everything. And there's a saying that smart people learn from other people's mistakes. I literally took it to heart because after going through various challenges, I realized that my own perspective right now really doesn't allow me to even ask the questions that I'm not aware of. I don't know what a quality question to ask at that moment. I don't know how to improve my sales, improve my operation. I didn't even know how to approach other people to raise a bit of capital so that I could fund it to a deal that I found. And the best thing I did is that I started joining a lot of networking events, try to chat with people who are also on the same journey or try to like get into real estate. And the more important thing is that I get to see a lot of real estate professionals, mentors, speakers, and this is how I was able to identify, okay, which person actually is currently living the life that I'm dreaming of in the next 5 to 10 years. And I picked that person, I chatted, make sure we connect, and basically I just say, I'm willing to compensate for your time, but please walk me through everything that you believe that I need to know at this current moment. And this is how everything really started. And looking back, there's a lot of basic stuff that I learned and foundation that I built. But basically, because of him, I actually avoided a lot of costly mistakes. And looking back, there was a lot of eye-opening experiences. How to negotiate with the seller, how to actually get in front of the delinquent sellers, how did we actually present the offer with the condition to protect myself. And there were so many different things that get involved in this entire process. So knowing someone that's ahead of you, that's living your current lifestyle, if you get their perspective on what you need to do, that outcome gets bridged very, very quickly. So this one's huge. You have access to everything right now with ChatGPT, Google's, and all that stuff. A lot of information out there. But here's the thing, what that doesn't replace is the experience that you are going to have. And more importantly, having a coach and mentor will allow you to have that accountability every single week to move that needles 1 week at a time. This is what I truly enjoyed because it cut back so much of my time, and then I started seeing people who got into this field around the same time. I was so much ahead of them because they're still going through trial and error. I'm already knowing exactly what the pathway is. And by the way, this is why I'm super passionate about helping our community and building this community with Property Hustlers, simply because I get to share with a lot of experience with people who are just starting out as well. Basically me 10 years ago. And this is how I was able to help them shortcut every single step of the way. And one of the good examples is that Shirnyu, who's been trying to get into real estate for the past 2 years, couldn't pull a trigger. We literally helped him get into his very first fourplex in less than 3 months. And that one was with creative financing. He only put on less than 40K to purchase that fourplex. And immediately after, he had the confidence to pull a trigger on another duplex. And honestly, this is a fun part for us because we get to compress the time for all of our members to get to their financial goals within such a short period of time. Now that you have done 3 things, identify your market, pick up a skill set, and then also have a mentor guiding you through exactly what you need to do. Now it's all about being financial discipline, which is step number 4. You gotta learn how to actually start allocating your resources a little bit better. This is a whole new skill set that I learned a lot from Dave Ramsey. I get that not a lot of real estate investors like him because he is very, very against leveraging or having any debt.
You got to get out of debt. Your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. And when you spend your whole freaking life giving your money to banks who fill up the skyline and have furniture nicer than yours, that makes you stupid.
But what I like about him is that every time that I have funds coming in, income resource that's coming in, I get to follow his way to start allocating the funds into the right account so that I don't even get to see the available funds to myself. And this is really critical because I started building the right habit of managing the funds. And this really is the reason why a lot of people, even with high income, they're still broke because their lifestyle continues to inflate as their income. And the moment that their income stopped or they're facing a bit of financial crisis, now they're in the red all the time. Again, I also wasn't perfect. I had a lot of impulsive purchase with my lifestyle. I also didn't have a lot of self-control when it comes to crypto investment, so lost a lot of money over there. And this is basically, I started reviewing everything, tracking everything, automate a lot of like monthly distribution so that I could control my expenses properly and only focus on the growth. Step number 5, we got good income coming in. We know how to control the financials. Now this is time to leverage the relationship a lot more. In real estate, you're going to see all kind of leverage, all kind of strategy. But the main thing here is that you will never be able to save as quickly as the market. I quickly realized that there's just no way for me to save 200K in just 1 year to buy real estate. So I started approaching my friends, family, colleagues, and especially the clientele that I built through my property management business. And this is where you get to leverage a lot of social capital. Since I was already managing their property, managing their projects, and protecting their asset, giving them different type of strategy for their portfolio and expansion, I ended up having a lot of trust and authority whenever I present a deal to all of my investors. And this is where things started getting very, very interesting. Don't just invest your capital in real estate. You can do that, but a better way is for you to use your funds as a business capital to draw even more investor capital. Use other people's money to buy more and more real estate. And this honor sale is the pivotal moment for my business. I was able to really focus on creating the deals with the sellers, and once I have the deal under contract, this is where I can pair them up with the capital. That's how my company was able to start flipping projects and started acquiring commercial real estate. And this is basically the same system that I implemented for Ralph, who's a mortgage broker, and he managed to raise the capital for 2 multifamily buildings first year working with us. Ralph, same thing, he's able to use his own capital to raise additional 180K for his very first flip. And if you're wondering if this process can also work for you, use the link below, happy to chat with you. So this is basically the 5 steps I will give to my younger self or even my kids. And these 5 steps really transformed my entire life and really built out a foundation for each stage of my business. Again, real estate is something that you stick to it 88% of the time, you're going to become a millionaire over time. So if you're wondering about how to source the right real estate deals for yourself in today's market, here's a 3-step process for you.